folks, how you doing? This is Wayne S. Pierce for American Liberty Radio Network. Whoops. Would help to turn the music down, wouldn't it? Wayne S. Pierce, American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. So how are you today on this, what is day? It is the 19th of September, 2017. Yes, anyway. Anywho, folks, what a day. Been working to put together something for Halloween. I know that's a little ways off, but for New West Radio Theater, I'm putting together a program that you folks may like. A little creepy, but that's okay. It's Halloween. What do you expect? Yeah, more news on that as Halloween approaches and what shows I'm going to put on. I will give you a hint. Some of it is original. So, yes. So, newwestradiothéâtre.weebly.com is where you will hear that. And, of course, I've got shows on there now. I've got shows of yesteryear and all of that. So go check that out if you like. If you like old-time radio shows, they are on there at newwestradiothéâtre.weebly.com. And, so let me know what you think. So thank you very much. What can I say? President Trump has spoken with the UN today. I watched a couple minutes of it, and I got to tell you, there are some negative comments. I'm serious. I mean, I'm going to say this, and I've put this on my personal Facebook page, and I'll read it to you, or you can just go to Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook and see it, you know. I said, President Trump is speaking to the UN right now. This was an hour ago. I watched about a couple of minutes of it. Comments were mostly very nice and supportive, but there were those comments that weren't. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If people do not like the President of the United States, you can leave and go to another country that you can politically align with. Yes, I said it, and I make no apologies for saying it. I'm usually a very open-minded, very tolerant man. It's when people just assume they can walk all over my views and opinions and accuse me of various things that I just have to stop them in their tracks. It's just a simple process of elimination and situational idealistic deduction that will result in people understanding what is going on. But I'm going to make a guess here and say, on average, 30% of the liberal voters never averaged more than a C in political science or sociology classes. Mine were A's and B's. I can't and won't make apologies for what I say, only how I say it. I will discuss issues and subjects with others only if they can provide the information to support their side of the discussion. Don't give me this crap that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You have to prove it to yourself. Debates are fine. Bring the information you have and put it on the table of debate, and we'll talk. So again, don't like the President of the United States? Leave. There's countries in other parts of the world you can go to that may perfectly align with your personal political philosophies. Boats and planes leave all the time. This is the United States of America. Subversive political beliefs don't belong here. Bye. I'll continue to hang out with my friends from every race, creed, and sexual orientation who love America and want peace, freedom, liberty, and security for the nation. If you can't handle that, there's the border. Have a nice day. I said it. I mean, that's just the way it is. All right? That's just the way it is. I make no apologies for what I say. None. I don't have to. Okay? Some people say I don't even have to explain myself, but sometimes people just don't get it. So, 19th September 2017, this is American Liberty Radio Network. Let's get on with some news, shall we? Roger Stone, former campaign advisor of President Trump, says the Russian collusion delusion. This is at Infowars.com. The entire allegation is the brainchild of John Podesta, who has deep ties with Russia. On September 26th, this is what Roger Stone said. On September 26th, I will testify to the U.S. House of Representatives Intelligence Committee in their ongoing investigation into whether Donald Trump, his family, campaign, or associates colluded with the Russian state to influence the outcome of 2016 election. Roger Stone says, I am testifying voluntarily and have requested nor received no grant of immunity. He also says, I've been anxious to do so since several members of the committee have made allegations in public session that I had advance notice of either the hacking of Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta's emails or advance knowledge of the content of material published by WikiLeaks that proved embarrassing to the campaign of Hillary Clinton. I'm going to put the rest of that on American Liberty Radio podcast. I just, Can you see how just really unbelievably crazy this whole thing is? Can you see this? It's I find it hilarious, to be totally honest. Okay. Fact of the day. Let me give you a fact of the day. Until 1950, 7-Up contained lithium. 7 is the atomic weight of lithium. Thank you very much for that. I feel, and this is me. This is me. Doesn't reflect anybody else. I feel that people need to be informed. And the more informed a person is, the more educated they become and the more understanding they have about what's going on around them. I mean, it's a simple process, okay? I have looked beyond the norm. I have looked beyond the average daily routine of Americans, of citizens, of people who literally live each and every day within this particular country, within the vast majority of society in America. I've looked beyond that and have seen case after case after case of people just continually being dumbed down by the indoctrination out of our governmental indoctrination institutes and have literally lowered their IQ dramatically, not only through the left-wing Marxist education. You can go read the book Deliberate Dumbing Down of America by Charlotte Iserby. It's not only that, but it's also the chemicals in the air through chemtrails, the chemicals in our food, the chemicals in our water, the chemicals in our baby formula. We have become this manufactured synthetic society that is increasingly becoming unintelligent. Okay? I mean, this I chuckle because I've seen this, and other people have too, but I chuckle because I'm simply amazed that people still do not recognize who the true enemy of the state is. I just... I could go on. I could, but I won't. I just won't. Because I am baffled every single time when I see somebody talk about what's going on, how things are handled, how things should be handled, that kind of, and I ask myself, and other people I'm sure I have asked this as well, but it's like, what's the outcome? What is the outcome going to be? How is this going to, how are people going to make it if they don't recognize what is the deterrent to their peace, freedom, liberty, and security of this nation? I mean, seriously. There's a video out. President Trump addresses the UN General Assembly for the first time. Quote, to put it simply, we meet at a time of both immense promise and great peril. President Trump called out North Korea's and Iran's nuclear development and defended America's interests Tuesday during an address to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Quote, the United Nations has great strength and patience. The United States has great strength and patience, unquote. I will agree. I'm just saying that. Trump said, referring to Rocket Man Kim Jung-un, or as I like to call him, Kim Jung Cheeseburger. Kim Jong-un's, he said this in regards to Kim Jong-un's repeated provocations, and Trump says, quote, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea, unquote. There's more to it, so I'm not going to, I'll let you read it. And assess it and draw your own conclusions on it. I'm not here to try to twist your arm and make you believe anything that I believe. I hopefully encourage you to go out and look this stuff up on your own. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you want to? Trump also, referring to Kim Jung Cheeseburger in North Korea, says, quote, Rocket Man is on a suicide mission, unquote. Quote, denuclearization is the only acceptable future, unquote, for North Korea, says the president. Yeah, I'm beginning to like this man a little more. I'm just saying. In his first speech to the UN, President Trump said Tuesday that North Korean leader Kim Jung-un is on a suicide mission with his development of a nuclear arsenal and ballistic missiles. Quote, Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and his regime, unquote, Mr. Trump told the UN General Assembly, adding that North Korea's, quote, reckless, unquote, pursuit of nuclear missiles, quote, threatens the entire world with unthinkable loss of human life, unquote. He also goes on to say, quote, the United States has great strength and patience. And as I said before, he also said, if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. I'm going to put that on American Liberty Radio podcast as well. I have a question for you all, if you do not mind answering this. Some of my questions are more rhetorical and don't need an answer, but if you would like to answer this, I'm okay with it. Go to American Liberty Radio podcast to answer the question if you like. The question is this. If you were the leader of the free world of the United States of America, and you had the opportunity to sit down with the world leaders of who had nuclear capabilities, what would you say? What would you say in this whole environment of this political unrest that we are seeing in the world today? If you had the opportunity to sit down with the industrialized, nations of the world who had nuclear capabilities, what would you say? I myself personally would say almost exactly what President Trump has said. You even think about firing upon the United States of America, we'll wipe you off the face of the earth. Do you know how many silos we have in the United States? Do you know how many nuclear missiles we have in the United States? We're not going to go to the nuclear option, but we will if we have to. But we will take all the Moabs that we have. We will take all the bombs that we have. We will take every conventional weapon we have, and we will turn you into dust. That's what I would say. But then the UN would get pissed off and said, well, you can't do that without... No. Guess what? My next statement would be, hey, UN General Assembly and UN leader, let me tell you, I quit. We're not paying you anymore. We're out of the UN as of today. So we don't need your permission to do whatever it is we need to do. Bye. So there is that moment, though. And I know this in reality. There's that moment where I chuckle because the insanity of the UN is just amazingly evident to people, but some of them don't see it. But it's amazing to me. It's just incredible to me that I see a bunch of people in the whole world. It doesn't matter where they're, at or if they're congregated in one location, like the UN. It doesn't matter. These people have absolutely no idea what they're doing. It just amazes me the lack of intelligence that is involved in this whole political arena that we have globally. And I'm speaking globally now. Okay, the whole issue is we have elites, world leaders who are puppets of these elites. Have you ever played chess against your friends? I mean, that's all it is a global chess game. It has nothing to do with, well, there's political ramifications, of course, of their moves and all of that, but it has really nothing to do with creating a better world. Because when you look at the very documents of the globalists, when you look at all of what they've written, they're out to destroy everything. Okay? The first thing they get rid of is freedom of speech. The second thing they get rid of is the ability for you as individuals or you as a country to defend yourself. The third thing they get rid of is the educational part where it builds up in a positive way your ability to create a better future for yourself. They begin to indoctrinate you. Here in the United States, we have the governmental indoctrination institutes, which start out at preschool and kindergarten. Kindergarten, you know what I mean. Kindergartners. There we go. That's a German word. I don't know. I don't speak German. So it goes from preschool kindergarten to your undergrad universities, your universities, major universities in the U.S. I can name 3 of them right now that are globalists, that are, leftist leaning. I mean, we're talking, incredibly leftist leaning, and that would be Yale, Harvard, and Columbia. And there are some great people there who don't like that type of philosophy and that type of political philosophy. And they come out and say, look, we don't, so I applaud those people for coming out and saying something. But the vast majority of the administration and the instructors and all that, they're far left leaning liberal loons. And they absolutely don't know what is happening in their own backyard. They really don't. So as far as I'm concerned, and this is only me. It's only me. Just look at me here. Just, what I see, how I see it, what I know is basically the presence of these globalists in the world is detrimental to any peace, freedom, liberty, and security any country once, including the United States of America. I mean, that's what I know. That's what I see. I mean, it's here. It's in front of my face. I see it. To really understand what's going on, though, you have to separate yourself from the very thing you are involved in to see the greater impact of what these globalists are doing. Give you a prime example. And you folks have probably heard this already, but I'll give you a prime example. California. California has passed, or is going to pass, SB 54, which turns the whole state into a sanctuary state. In other words, that's one step away from being a country of its own and separating itself from the rest of the United States of America. Okay? And in essence, it's made itself separate through sanctuary state rulings and laws and all of that, because they don't want to be a part of the United States. Moonbeam, as he is so affectionately known as now, Governor Jerry Brown, is a freaking communist. Okay? That's what he is. I don't really give a rip what anybody thinks in California anymore. If you guys want to step up and protect your state and take it back and do what you must and all of that, I'm going to applaud you. If there were, 10, 15, 25 people that called me up or emailed me or texted me or sent me a message and saying, hey, we don't have a leader. We understand you grew up in California. We need you to lead us to, in a defense force to protect California, to get it back. I'd be there in a heartbeat. I'd be there in a heartbeat. Why? Because they're human beings, folks. They're human beings, all right? If people here in Montana, where I live currently, came to me and said, hey, we understand that California is under siege. We need to go protect the people, and we're going to align ourselves with the California militia and all that, I'm going to say two things. First of all, who's the California militia and who's running them? And secondly, is there any military that is going to defy the orders of their commanding officers so that they can so that we can ally with them and get them on our side? Because there's always going to be conflict. I don't care where you're at in the world. There's always going to be conflict. But you have to know how to diffuse the situation first to be able to negotiate a deal later. And by pointing guns at one another, that ain't going to help. Okay? But the guns help in terms of if the opposition disagrees and really starts, crap and wants to, really defend itself, yeah, then the weapons are a good asset. Look at any strategic military, engagement and campaign. Look at it. Same thing. They don't just go out and, with the weapons and do whatever it is they need to do. They look for diplomacy. They look for, let's try to defuse the situation first. Okay? Normally that works, but here in high tense political, upheaval we have in our world today, especially in the United States, I don't know what the outcome's going to be because everybody's pointing fingers, everybody's accusing this person and doing this and doing that. So nobody really knows what the hell's going on. So there's no point there's no beginning to the diplomacy. California is shot. Let's put it that way. California is done. California's history. Don't even worry about California. There's some great places to go. But LA is the cesspool of liberal, media and entertainment, so they're freaking pointless. So don't even worry about that. San Francisco is a great place to be if you're high tech, and you'll make a lot of money if you play the game, if you know what I mean. But California's done. California is finished. It's over. Let's just say there's a virtual wall between Nevada and California. And I think Arizona as well. Yeah. And Oregon. Virtual wall. It's gone. So don't even worry about California anymore. California is going to go in the toilet. If people in California, I'm speaking directly to the people of California right now. If people do not stand up and do what they must to take back their home state, you might as well just sign the documents and hand it right back to the globalist, or hand it to the globalist, hand it to Mexico, hand it to who, just split it up. I don't care. Give it away, sell it. Who cares? Because you obviously don't give a crap about your own home state. So you better change your mindset. You better change the way you're thinking and look at defense instead of just taking everything for granted and everything's going to be fine because we have people that are going, no. Don't expect somebody else to save your ass when you yourself don't even get up to try to do it yourself. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. But those are my opinions. Those are my thoughts. Those are my views. Those are my, how do I put this? That's my perspective. That is my perspective. My perspective is neither right or wrong. It's just a perspective. My observations and my perception through that perspective creates the opinions that I have. And anything that you want to know, I'm sure you're smart enough to go look it up on your own. Okay. I haven't dealt with so much crises since I was about 15 or 16 years old. I haven't dealt with this much anger from people for quite a while. Quite a while. Folks, I'm going to take a break. I always do at the bottom of the hour. But first I want to say this. You might want to keep looking out for the post on Facebook. I may have a live show tonight. Not sure yet. Not quite sure, but I may. So, what I want to do is I want to have a live show tonight to fill you in on exactly what's going on and how and what formed all of this, okay? So, what formed the ideas to put together this whole system we call the United States of America? What started it? What, other than 1773 and the Boston Tea Party, but what, after 1871, the signature of President Ulysses S. Grant signing the Act of 1871 into law. What happened before, during, and after that? So I'm going to get into that a little bit tonight if I do a live show tonight, depending on what's going on. But I may have a live show tonight. Don't know yet. I'm going to go to break, folks. I'll be back in, I don't know. How's let's see here. I'm looking at my my thing here. How's about 2 minutes, 39 seconds? I shall return. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com.
Greetings, this is John LeBang of The John LeBang Show, and you're listening to the American Liberty Radio Network.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Growing up terrestrial radio, the future is here. Destroying the liberal media one truth bomb at a time. Independent media is shattering the liberal national security media into a million pieces. Their views of the world are based on the script the government gives them. Independent media seeks out and finds the truth and reports on what is truly going on behind the scenes. Support the truth and facts. Support independent media. American Liberty Radio Network. Tired of the corporate fake news media? Listen to American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. The following is a disclaimer for American Liberty Radio Network. What I say on American Liberty Radio Podcast and the Truth Experience and the Wayne S. Pierce Show do not reflect the views and opinions of those that are not connected to or associated with me personally or my shows. Thank you. Hey, folks, welcome. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com, 19th of September, 2017. How are ya? Are you good? Are you hanging out? Hey. What can I say, folks? What can I say? Yeah, I'm just looking around here for an article. Well, I got to give credit where credit is due. I got to admit or at least give props to CNN because they actually admitted something. They actually admitted to something. CNN admits Trump right about the wiretapping claim. Trump and InfoWars vindicated as the truth comes to light. InfoWars, 19th September 2017. Donald Trump is proven right again after CNN admits that he was being wiretapped. If I can speak, I'd be fine. A Baylor professor discusses taking out, that's in quotes, taking out white people due to their distaste for vaccines, and Bill Gates wants to microchip babies to track them throughout their lives. Also, Hillary Clinton continues to directly attack InfoWars. Okay, so there's a bunch of articles and things there as well. I'm putting that up on American Liberty Radio Network. American Liberty Radio Podcast is where this one is going. Folks, I'm going to lay this out right now. I'm just going to put this out here right freaking now. And that is, when you get to the point of knowing all of this stuff and new things appear each and every day, or things that you've known years ago are now coming to light being true, doesn't that make you kind of sit back and go, let's see, maybe people aren't paying attention. Maybe people are not doing what they need to do and do their diligence to find the truth and the facts. I got a friend of mine in Michigan who, actually, I got a few friends who look at me and think that, he's one of those right-wing conspiracy theory nuts. Really? Really? I have to laugh in your face, because I have been right all along. Okay? I have been right all along. I have been doing this for 40 years, researching geopolitical issues, researching various cultures and ideologies of different cultures, various religions, various political factions within the world. And let me tell you something. I may have overlooked a few things along the way, so that doesn't mean I'm wrong, but the majority of the time, I've been right all along. So to all my friends that keep telling me I'm one of those right-wing conspiracy theory nut jobs, shut up. You got nothing to say. I know that's hard. My God, you just triggered me. You said shut up. And I don't care. I don't care. If you want to continually bash me for the truth and the facts, what's that telling me? What are you showing yourself to be when you do that? You're showing yourself to be a far-left liberal loon that caters more to communism and Marxism and all of that than you are for peace, freedom, liberty, and security. What did I say on my personal Facebook page? If you don't like the president, if you don't like this country, get the hell out. No, I'm saying it. I make no apologies for what I say. Mama didn't raise no fool. But a lot of people would say, well, this is America. We have free speech. I can say whatever I want. Well, okay, I'll give you a high five on that one because you're right. But when you start talking about and claiming and asserting and assuming and making accusations towards people who are in total opposition to what you believe, and you begin to say that you want them, as some black professors in certain universities have said that white people should go away, certain separatists in America in certain religions say that white people should be killed. When your oppositional opinions become, let's just say, forceful to the point of you literally wanting the authorities to arrest me for my free speech and the truth and the facts, that right there is a definition of subversion. Here, let me go educate you here in just a minute. I'm going to go to dictionary.com. Actually, let me go over. Let's go there. Subversion. I'm putting this on there. Subversion. An act or instance of subverting. Let's go. It says that. So let's go over here. Subvert. Let's look that one up. Subvert. To overthrow, something, in parentheses, it says something established or existing, to cause the downfall, ruin, or destruction, to undermine the principles of, to corrupt. To undermine the principles of. Okay? This is what you do. Subvert is, I didn't even notice, but let me go back and do that. I was going to say subvert is a verb, an action word. Subvert. Let's go take a look. It is a verb. I was exactly right. I didn't pass my English classes for nothing. Number one thing on the top of my list of pet peeves is ignorance. The number two pet peeve I have is people who ignore the obvious. Hey, wait a minute. They're both one and the same, aren't they? Huh. Then there's the completely ignorant people who I call dumber than a box of rocks, and I'm insulting rocks. So, I'm not saying I'm the smartest man in the world. I am nowhere near a candidate for Mensa. Okay, I'm just saying that I am a very educated individual and very intelligent, if I may say so myself. But people like Michael Savage, Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, they're a lot smarter than me, and they can, run circles around me on any given day of the week, So, you tell me, go to American Liberty Radio Podcast and put this and put your views there as well. You tell me what you're right about. I've been right all this time for 40 years, or at least, at least 35. So you tell me what you're right about. Huh? And give me the links and give me, whatever. Just show me. Today alone, if you want, American Liberty Radio Podcast Facebook page can be your table of debate, can be the table of debate where you put your information there. American Liberty Radio Podcast, go ahead. Lay it out there because I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to know what you know. Hey, who knows? We may agree on something. You won't know until you put it out there. Okay? American Liberty Radio Podcast. Go check it out. It's incredible to me that people just... I will continue on. Hey, the internet has been, incredible in the last 20 some odd years, right? It's been around for a while, okay? Created by the CIA and most of the universities in the United States, namely MIT. But here it is, 2017, and we have more people ordering and buying stuff online and having it shipped to their house or maybe to the place of business. And that has been increasingly profitable for these companies over the last 15 years, I would say, since, Overlook and of course, Amazon and eBay and you name it. I mean, they're all out there. So people have ordered stuff online and it's become very profitable for these businesses, right? Well, that is detrimental to the brick and mortar buildings, like Sears, like Kmart, and now Toys R Us. Toys R Us, folks, is filing for bankruptcy. Okay. Online retailers toppling brick and mortar giants. I told you this. Zero Hedge is reporting this on 19th of September, 2017. Toys R Us files second largest retail bankruptcy in history. Toys R Us Incorporated, the largest brick and mortar toys retailer, filed for bankruptcy late on Friday night as a result of a crushing post-LBO debt load and relentless competition from warehouse and online retailers, the, quote, latest blow to retail industry reeling from store closures, sluggish mall traffic, and the gravitational pull of Amazon.com, unquote, according to Bloomberg. The Chapter 11 filing, if I can speak, lips and tongue work better, if you can actually form words. The Chapter 11 filing is among the largest ever by a specialty retailer and casts doubts over the future of its about 1,600 stores and 64,000 employees. It comes just as Toys R Us is gearing up for the holiday shopping season, which accounts for the bulk of its sales, and as vendors halt shipments to the now insolvent retailer. With assets of $6.9 billion, it's the second largest retail bankruptcy, trailing the filing of 2002 by Kmart, which had $14.6 billion in assets. The company was saddled with debt from a $6.6 billion buyout in 2005, led by KKR, Bain Capital, and Vornado Realty Trust. KKR. Check out those names, folks. I know I will. KKR, Bain Capital. Ooh, guess who operates and is a CEO of Bain Capital? Go look that up. You won't be surprised. Toys R Us has bonds coming due over the next few years that lost most of their value this month. Quote, while today's decision does not necessarily mean it is game over for Toys R Us, it brings to a close a turbulent chapter in the iconic company's history, unquote, said Neil Saunders, managing director of Global Data Retail. I'm going to put this on American Liberty Radio podcast. Folks, let me tell you, I rarely went to Toys R Us. Rarely. When I grew up in Stockton, California, I went to like KB Toys and places like that, you know. But rarely did I ever go to Toys R Us. Remember earlier, I talked about how certain professors and certain colleges don't want white people? Oh, let me put it to you this way. Paul Joseph Watson, Infowars.com, 19th of September 2017. There was a professor who said this, quote, we'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States, unquote. Infectious disease expert makes joke suggesting to eliminate vaccine refuseniks. Paul Joseph Watson, Infowars, 19th September 2017. An infectious disease expert joked that a good way to eliminate vaccine refuseniks, who overwhelmingly tend to be white people, is to simply, quote, get rid of all white people in the United States, unquote. The comments are made by Carol J. Baker, MD, at a May 2016 event in Atlanta, Georgia, but are only just beginning to receive attention. Baker, who is a pediatrics infectious disease professor at the Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas, told the National Meningitis Association panel discussion that a solution to the large numbers of white people who refuse to let their children be given vaccines is to, quote, get rid, unquote, of white people. I'm just going to put that on American Liberty Radio podcast for you guys to take a look at. There's more to it, of course. Yeah. I'm honestly at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words because I just think that there's certain things in America that we understand. There are certain things in the process of living in the United States of America that we get, that we understand, that we know, that we have, and here it is. We know for a fact that we have to survive. We know that we have to be educated enough to get the good jobs, to get the career, yada, yada, yada. But we also know enough, hopefully, that I know that we know enough to not make stupid statements like that professor did, getting rid of white people because you refuse to take vaccines. When the smart people and the aware people know what's in the vaccines and know how it affects us neurologically and psychologically. We know this stuff. So it just baffles my mind that these professors, especially this one, would ever say something so stupid. She joked about it? If I was the dean of that university that she's part of, I would call her in the office and say, either make a retraction today or you can be looking for another job tomorrow. That's what I would do. And if people don't want to hold her accountable in that way, then you know what? Well, I've got tenure. I don't care what you have. I'm going to fire your ass. You can take it up with the administration. I don't care. You don't make statements like that. You know, why the battles against liberalism, globalism, and the New World Order are all related. In the end, it is a battle that we cannot afford to lose. End of the American Dream, Michael Snyder, 19th of September, 2017. Do you love liberty and freedom? If you ask that question to people randomly on the street, you're going to get the same answer and over and over again. Everyone wants liberty and freedom, but what they don't understand is that there is an inverse relationship between the size of government and the amount of liberty and freedom that we get to enjoy. Every time a new law, rule, or regulation is established, our liberties and our freedoms are restricted in some way. So the bigger government becomes the less liberty and freedom we actually have. The bigger the government becomes, the less liberty and freedom we actually have. On the federal level, there are now literally hundreds of thousands of laws and rules and regulations, and when you throw in the state and local levels, the total number of laws and rules and regulations governing all of our lives is in the millions. This is something that we have learned about in law school, and it always stuck with me. That's what Michael Snyder said. Let me put that on American Liberty Radio podcast so you can check it out. I know, and I'll put it to you this way. I know certain people, certain groups of people as well, but certain people individually, I know certain people individually don't want peace, freedom, liberty, and security. They don't want to live in a free society. They want the government to take care of everything they have. Remember, you're hearing when President Obama or then Senator Obama was running for president, and then got elected. You remember hearing those people, I don't have to worry about my mortgage, about my car payment, because they thought they were going to get freebies. There are people out there that want the government, the Washington, D.C. elites, to be their sugar daddy. Give them everything for free. That doesn't work that way, morons. Yeah, I called you a moron because you are. What? Excuse me? Oh, did I trigger someone? Did I offend someone? So what? If you think that a government the size of the United States, or I shouldn't say the size, if you think the government of Washington, D.C., this little measly little group of people in a 10 square mile piece of land on the East Coast is ever going to give you anything for free without them themselves benefiting from that, you are dumber than dirt. Okay? That's just the way it is. God, you're harsh. No, I'm realistic. I'm realistic. When you look at the very nature of what government is and what it should be, we don't have that. Okay? Number one, our founding fathers of this nation told us to stay away from centralized government. Do not create it. It all belongs to the states, period. End of sentence, done. They warned us about it. But they created such a havoc during the Civil War that they killed a sympathizer and they killed the president, Abraham Lincoln. Not they, not our founding fathers, but the people that didn't like our founding fathers. They didn't want peace, freedom, liberty, and security for the states. They wanted a conglomerate of people in one area in a centralized government. Yeah. So, what happened? Well, in 1871, President Ulysses S. Grant signed a document that said, hey, you guys get what you want. And it's been downhill ever since. We've had our good times. We've overcome some nasty things in this country. But we've been involved in foreign wars our founding fathers told us not to get into. Our founding fathers told us, the people that signed the Declaration of Independence, they told us not to have centralized government or a central banking system or a centralized military. Guess what we have? Hey, we have all three. Okay? What's my point? My point is simple. We need to put all the power back into the hands of the people, back into the states, and get rid of Washington, D.C., repeal the Act of 1871, repeal the Federal Reserve Act and the Internal Revenue Act that President Woodrow Wilson signed in 1913. I was going to say 2000, but you get it. The Creature of Jekyll Island, go look that up. That's where that all began in 2010 on Jekyll Island. Go look it up. Then in 2000, I keep saying 2000. In 1913, President Woodrow Wilson got his arm twisted, got his mind all warped because, they forced him to sign this little piece of paper creating the Federal Reserve and creating the Internal Revenue Service. And then what happened the following year? Can you say World War I? I mean, seriously. If it wasn't for the socialist president, Woodrow Wilson, we wouldn't be sitting here today talking about it. If he would have just had the balls to stand up against it, we wouldn't have had World War I or World War II. Or the coming up World War III. If President Ulysses S. Grant wasn't a coward, he could have stood up to these people and just said, no, I'm not going to sign the Act of 1871 handing back the United States to the Brits. Are you crazy? What would the world be if they didn't do that? Kind of a thought experiment, isn't it? Yeah, go figure that out and let me know. American Liberty Radio podcast on Spreaker or on Facebook. You can also comment on Spreaker at American Liberty Radio. So folks, got so many thoughts in my head. I got so much stuff to do today that, yes, I flub up my words. I'm not perfect, okay? I'm just okay. There we go. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Go to the sponsors page and become a patron for $1 a month. $1 a month, folks. That's all it's going to take. Become a patron. $1 a month. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Sponsors page. There you go. In the meantime, folks, I'm out of here. I'm going to go away now. American Liberty Radio Network. American Liberty Radio. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.